Hey, what's up, everybody? It's David here with Core Confidence, and today I'm excited and pleased to bring a guy I just loved working with, Michael Willen, successful business owner living up in Northern California. Just a great guy, successful business owner, cool, but awesome guy, awesome human being, and want to talk or going to talk to Michael today about what he achieved in his program, his obstacles, what he went through, all these things, the process of working through stuff with shyness, with confidence, traction with women, all that stuff. So excited to do that today. So welcome, Michael.
Hey, David, how you doing?
Doing great, man.
Good to be here.
Yeah, man. Great to have you, and glad we set this up, and was really pleased to receive that email of you're like, hey, I want to give you an update, and things are going well, and this is what's happening. And so I thought, what a great time to set up something like this. So the first thing I always love to ask here is, when you first reached out to me to book your breakthrough call, what was going on for you? Where were you at in terms of your, confidence, attraction, dating, social life, all this stuff with women? Where were you at, and what were you struggling with?
Where was I? I actually felt like I was in the dumps. My confidence was shattered. I had a really hard time just going up and saying hi to a woman, and there was how do I explain being I felt lost in myself, and after coming from an 18-year marriage and feeling like no woman ever wants me again, and I was shattered. That's how I felt. Was pretty shattered when I talked to you.
Yeah, and I remember that in our first conversations we were speaking before. As we're setting up all the technical stuff for this, right, and getting it working, and I remember that now. That word "shattered" came up actually.
Yeah.
When we got to what was really going on for you, and that's a common place for guys to be at. Shattered, lonely. Can be. Desperation going on, can be, all kinds of things going on, especially post-divorce, right?
Yeah.
And I also remember that you've been in a situation where you did have plenty of women around you, more or less, but there was not a way for you to reach out, right, with the confidence, say hi, or even know sort of what to do in order to get things to move forward romantically or dating wise, let alone, a lot of the reason guys reach out to me is not only the shyness, confidence thing, but how do I get them chasing me so it's easier for me and I'm not chasing them down, hunting them down, and facing all that fear of rejection, or, coming across as desperate or needy, that kind of thing.
Yeah. That's definitely where I was at. We're like, okay, yeah, you're attracted to a woman, you look at her and you're just like, oh, well, how do I, okay, we get a conversation going, we talk, and everything's great. How do I move it forward? I just didn't know the steps, or if within myself, how to move things forward with a woman. I was just, and again, that's from being with one woman for so long and not understanding women all over again.
Yeah.
Or understanding myself.
Yeah. And I would say, I feel like, about a quarter of the guys that, reach out like you, aside from shyness and confidence, want sort of like, well, what do I do? Like, I've been out of the dating game for 18 years, 20 years, 27 years, 30 years. And I don't know how things work now. And not only that, it's like the element of, the magnetic element of having it be to where, being this kind of guy that it's just, there's this ease with it, not having to like play the numbers game, but let alone just like, well, what do I do in general? Because there are different ways, right? And there's things like pick up out there and all that stuff. And I don't think you came across that stuff, but this is very different than that as well. And it's meant to integrate in your life so you can just be who you are and break through those fears and come up and say hi and have that interaction going, have that vibe to where, an understanding, like you said, just the understanding of how things work. And, what I love about you is that you were always very, of course, open and coachable, right? That's a requirement, and very open. to things, and including some of the deeper stuff that we had to do to clean up mindset.
Yeah, it's definitely had some cleanup to do within myself. There was to understand how to move forward and how to become magnetic towards women. And it's a process, and it's an ongoing process daily of accepting myself, and it's really cool, and learning about how women see men, forgetting that. And even though I have all these sisters and everything else, you just don't understand until it's taught to you or ingrained into me that hey, women do want you.
Yeah.
You know, and it's pretty cool. It's
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, and women do want men, and they also want a particular they want the guy to show up in a particular way. I mean, that's true to him, but one of the ways let's just say about what they don't want. They don't want a guy to show up as overly aggressive, overly pursuing, over needy, trying to convince them. They don't want a guy who's putting them on this pedestal. They want to be a guy who's on the level. And truthfully, not only a guy who's on the level, but maybe a guy who's above him, above her. Not that we're saying that we want that or there to be this big gap, because too big a gap either way isn't good. But right, that can happen, right? That can happen with a crush or whatever. And, we sort of don't want to even really do that with her, at least at first. I mean, we always sort of want to be on the level, right? That's the thing, because then how does it become if it's going to evolve into a relationship, you got to be on the level, right? Otherwise, it's like this worshiping thing and all that. And women will say, oh, I love to be worshipped and appreciated. That's what they think they want. They'll take the attention, but that doesn't mean they're going to be with that guy by any means. Oh, thank you for the compliment. Oh, thank you for the dinner. Oh, thank you for the drink. Right? Without the attraction being established, for sure. I'm not saying you can't compliment or any of that stuff, but without being that best version of you and the one who's like, I have something to offer, I have something of value, women do want me, changes everything. Rather than what do I got to do to get her, and what do I got to do, right? How do I convince her, and how do I bring myself up to the level? It's like, dude, be on the level, right? And that's what I talk about in my Attraction on Command webinar, is about remove the pedestal, because you're putting the pedestal there. We're putting the pedestal there when we do that, right? So, I'm curious too. You said you grew up with a lot of sisters. Did they ever try to help you with advice? Did you talk to them about women and stuff, or was it just kind of not spoken of?
Yeah, they do, but you know what? They're funny because they want me to put them on a pedestal. My sisters do. So I was kind of like, I grew up in a large Catholic family that, you have to be the gentleman. You have to be nice. You can't talk sexual with women. You have to be good, and and one thing you caught me with was the neediness, being needy to a woman. And I always thought, oh, they like that. You need them. And what I really learned is, no, I don't need them. I need just to be the best version of myself, like you said. And that's kind of where the direction I have gone, and saying, well, shit, I'm okay just the way I am, and I don't need a woman. I need my happiness and my enjoyment. Shit, when that happens, the women come. That's what I've noticed.
That's awesome, man. I love it. Spot on. Yeah. Spot on. Let's talk about what happened, during your program, and kind of some things you saw, some things, share a bit about the progress and the things you saw along the way, and then we'll talk about what's going on currently for you, which is exciting. Excited to talk about that too. But the journey that happened for you during the program, especially like when you first came in and what it was, well, actually, let me ask you this. Let me back it up. Anything you're afraid of when you signed on and took the big leap in there, and said, I'm going to do this. I'm going all in, because that's, what it takes. And that's what everybody pretty much does. Any fears or doubts about, is this going to work for me? Is this all a bunch of BS? Is this, can I do this? Am I even capable of this? Any of that kind of stuff going on?
All of that going on. I was scared shitless, to be honest. I was like, oh shit. one thing, opening myself up, and I was just scared. I was like, I don't know about this. I'm going, do I really want to do this? Is this a bunch of shit? Someone just going to come in and he's going to tell me, and he's going to laugh at me and say, oh, you're so fucked up. Go away. So yeah, there was a lot of fear, and making that call and talking to you, and after talking to you, that fear went away, and my realization came that this is a good thing I'm doing. This is going to be cool. And that's kind of what my mindset changed after our phone call.
Thanks for being so honest about that, man. I think it's really important for guys to hear, because it's common. I can't imagine it doesn't happen with anybody to some degree, or whatever degree, or to a large degree. There's that sort of leap of faith that has to happen, but also that this is possible for me, that has to happen because it is real. But again, and what I noticed is that you just, once you made the decision, right, you were decisive. Coming from that standpoint is the only way this really works. There are guys I'll talk to, and I only invite in half of the guys I talk to, if that, depending on the week. And what I notice is if a guy is wavering on his commitment, then it's going to be very debatable if he's going to get results or progress. So the commitment has to be all in, which you were when, once you decided you were all in. And that goes with being, usually it comes with coachability, which is huge. Very sensitive to listening for that, who's coachable and committed, especially, and decisive, because executing quickly on the stuff that we, the practice and action plans we come up with is really critical to breaking through things. And that can be, as a process, right? And I also love what you said there. You said, is this guy going to laugh at me and this and that, which was indicative of how your mindset was. It had nothing to do with me, right? Is he just going to say you're so effed up and this and that? And no, I'm not going to tell you you're effed up. Most guys already think they're effed up enough. We're trying to help get away from that. That's part of the problem. Not that there aren't things to resolve and past things and all that to work on. But yeah, that was very curious for me to hear that, because I don't really know what's going on in your head, when you're at whatever all the time. So it's very cool that you shared that. Thank you. Yeah. So now let's, once you dove in, you started, getting on the calls, doing the work and all that, running through the online training, and us, really coaching heavily. What did you start to find was happening? What was the process like for you?
Wow. For me, it was a spiritual journey, is how I would put it. I was putting myself out there, trusting you. The process got me to understand myself so much better. And especially if someone like me, a little later in life, learning all this stuff about myself is hard, because there's a lot of baggage back there from so many years. And I was able to go through this whole process and learn my baggage and learn what I needed to do to change myself, to be able to meet these women that I want to meet. A hot woman. That was what I wanted to do. And shit, I have. And that's what this process did, is it cleansed out all my shit and brought out, so it could bring out the best version of me. Learning something really deep inside to love myself again. And that was like the coolest thing of the whole process.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing I consistently heard through the program after, when you reached out. Self-love was huge for you, and it's not necessarily for every guy. I believe that we live in a world that can use a lot more of it. I know I have had to learn to give myself a lot more of it, and some days I'm not so great with it. I'll be honest. I've given myself pretty hard, but I've learned to, and when I pick up on that and hear that, where guys really struggling with beating themselves up a lot, that's the kind of route that usually has to go. And I love the fact that you said it's a spiritual journey, because that's what it's been for me. I probably need to write more about that because, to me, all of life, we're all on a spiritual journey, whether we believe it's spiritual or not. Spiritual just means it's really, really real for somebody, down to what's real in terms of life experience. It's not this woo-woo thing, it's not airy-fairy, really. It's really not. Although there are things that happen that seem magical and airy-fairy, right? Or not airy, just like, oh, shit, like, that was that easy, or that happened once I started loving myself more, or started relating to women in a different way more, or understood this thing more, that woman was basically waiting for an opportunity to be with me, hang out with me, sleep with me, date me, whatever occurred, right? And I feel it from you. You just like, you like vibrate it, you resonate it. And that's part of the vibe thing. Like, and the one thing with you that I'm still very clear on, and was clear on when I talked to you, is that, you are extremely likable and comfortable to talk to in a vibe, right? And that you can make women feel comfortable. The problem was the attraction, right? And we can kind of break it down that way. And some guys have both, or some guys have both, or they tend to be like, comfort is the friend zone or scaredy zone or needy zone sometimes, or it puts the guys in, away from the attraction zone. So, and one thing I want to ask about, or just mention here, is you mentioned how, you had baggage to clean out. And, for everyone listening, Michael's 58. 58 looks great, but seriously, sometimes guys have questions. Am I too old for this? I have too much baggage. And you're clearly an example, of the age doesn't matter. It's your willingness to be committed to doing the work, to going through the process, to being open to it, to diving full in. And that's what I'm here to help do, right, on all levels. And some people require more than others. Like, that's just the way it goes. That's why there's so much live interaction. It's not just an information product that you try to apply, because how do you overcome those barriers with just information alone? Some guys do really take to the information, are able to hit the ground running. And always the coaching helps, tune and tweak. And then there's some more getting under the hood that we've got to do, that I've got to, help you do in order to shift. So I love it because, and I believe that a lot has to do with the openness, like the openness to the process, right? And you use the word trust, and you said, you trusted me, which I love and appreciate. However, you really trusted yourself, trusted life as well, is what I really think you're saying there. It's a trust of, and trusting knowing that part of the process of trust is having to be fully immersed, fully in.
Yeah. Trust going all in, and I went all in, and I got everything out of it I put into it, and that's the only way it works. I mean, you if you don't put something into anything in life, you don't put something into it, you're not going to get anything out of it. And being a business owner, I understand that. That's what you got to do. And age, losing my hair, all this other shit, feeling like, oh God, I feel like I'm 70 years old, my back hurts, and none of that shit matters. It's all in your mind, and it's really that had to be ingrained in me. Like, there's just, like, for instance, like on Tuesday or Thursday, I think it was, at work, I was with a client, and she came in and she was talking, and we're going over things, and all of a sudden the conversation started moving, and within an hour we were like being like buddies. And when she went to go leave, she came up and gave me this huge hug with her like face against mine, and she was probably 30 years old. I'm like, so age doesn't matter. That's a whole thing in your head, man. And that's one thing that takes a lot for me to learn, and that's where I'm at, David. It's really cool with that.
That's so awesome. And here's the thing, again, like, the vibe with you is, so strong. I can picture the room. I can see how that went down, and your vibe is the belief, it's in your being now that you live that, not just this throwaway statement in which it can sound like, oh, age doesn't matter and this doesn't matter and this doesn't matter. Mainstream society, it all does matter. And to some degree, it can't. It's like if 58, you want to date a 21-year-old, well, you can. It's just going to be very different. You're going to, you know what I mean? You're still going to have a youthful energy, you know, or a ageless energy. It's almost like saying ageless energy. And we all know those people. Hell, I remember my locker partner in high school who was like, oh, 17 and I feel so old. And he felt like an old man. I mean, dude, what the hell? You can have people at 70, you know, 70 or whatever that are sprightly in energy. And again, I'm not saying there's not something that plays to attraction dynamics between men and women, but the more that you work on the mindset and the state of mind, state of being, the vibe, the more that stuff gets blown out. And the way I like to look at it is if everybody's in the bell curve in the middle, there are these outlying data points. I'm getting a little nerdy here. I was speaking with the guy the other day about it. I help guys become outliers, become that magical exception that those things don't apply to. The guy that it doesn't apply to. And, you know, for you, man, I mean, you just like, I can tell how much you appreciate women, which is important too. Appreciate people, right? I can feel that as you describe that interaction. And that's important, as well as understanding how things go and how attraction works and how to be that version of the attractive self, right? Because you can be that self and be, oh, you know, you're, you know, it's like you're just a big teddy bear friendly guy, and with a woman any age, or the women of the age that you want to date, without that sexual edge, without that sexual vibe, without that, you know, that, yeah, I'm a man who appreciates people and loves women and all this, but, you know, I'm also equipped. Hello? You know, I'm equipped.
Yeah.
And I'm a woman, like, you know, I'm just letting you know. I'm not chasing you down or anything, but I've got some goods over here. If you're interested, and I might be interested, we'll have to see if it's a fit, right?
Yeah, that is exactly how it goes. It's like it's the sexual part of me that I didn't know how to bring out, and that's what's coming out now. It's like, you know, and it's not even, I'm not even thinking about it. It just, I can see the look in the woman's eyes, like, ooh, yeah, you know, and it's really cool because I haven't had that in so many years. It's like, whoa, what a difference, what a transformation this has been, you know, and I'm really enjoying life right now.
Yeah, man, I can tell. I love it.
Yeah.
You are. So you mentioned, you know, you wanted to meet hot women, and that's what started to happen has happened. Like what, you know, how's that process been? What's, you know, we can talk about what's happening today, but certainly any steps along the way of things you went through too, would love to hear about that.
Yeah, well, you know, steps of just going up, getting the balls to go up and just say hi to a woman, that was huge for me. And had to go through the whole process of being able to do that. And now it's become more natural to me. It still is hard, and it still is not as natural as I would like it to be, but I know it's an everyday process, but I'm able to do it. I'm able to go up and say hi to any woman I want. And here's what happened to me a little while ago. I asked one girl out, you know, we were talking to each other and say, hey, let's get together and let's go for a motorcycle ride and go to dinner. She goes, okay, cool, I'd love to do that. And I said, okay. So take her out. And then another 2 days later, this other girl calls me up and says, hey, Michael, let's go out to dinner. I want to take you to dinner. I said, okay, great. So I do that. And then a couple of days afterwards, I'm watching and I'm like, they're posting these things on media together at a rodeo, and I'm going, oh shit, they're friends. and they were talking to each other, right? So then I get a text from one girl, and then I get a text from the other girl, and they're like playing games with me, like who's going to get me first? and kind of crazy. I mean, I'm like, shit, that hasn't happened to me since high school, you know, where there wasn't text, but there was, you know, the kind of teenage interaction going on.
No,
And
yeah,
yeah, so that's cool.
that's hilarious. So you figured out that they knew each other. Did they know? Did they figure out at that point too that they were, hanging out with the same dude, or?
Uh, they figured it out that night because one started talking. Oh, I went out and I had dinner with Michael, and she's like looking at him going, "Well, wait a minute. He took me for a motorcycle ride on Sunday,
Yeah.
and he took you out on Tuesday. Oh shit!" And and by the way, one of these girls now, I've been seeing a lot of, and we're really hitting it off and having a great time together, which is kind of cool. And it's like, showing her that I don't have to be this needy guy, and she's seeing that, oh shit, he has other guys, she has other girls all over him. If I really want to beat this guy, I got to chase him around, and that's kind of what she's doing. She's chasing me, and it feels. I feel wanted, I guess you can say. You feel that wow, women really like me. They like me more than I like them. How did this happen?
Yeah.
So,
Fascinating, right? And that's the
yeah,
one that you mentioned, Turning the Hot Little Romance. That's the same one.
yeah,
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, and it's interesting because it becomes like a love for all women, more generalized rather than right that specific one. That's kind of creates the neediness, and that's when they
yeah,
get into you, and then you can tune into that more if you want to. Don't have to, but it's also ties back to the fact that you were like, I don't need a woman to be happy and enjoy and love my life. And then it all comes rushing in, right? It's like, oh, this is great. It's great to be wanted. But also I get the sense, I know that you know this, and not that don't have our days, being, perfectly imperfect human beings that we are, but it's great to be wanted, and I am this guy, and part of being that guy is to not be attached to them wanting you or needing you, or you know what I mean? Because that can be a trap too, right?
yeah. Wanting neediness is like me. It's like I got to that you have to let go of. Of being my neediness has to be let go of, and that's something that I always like every day work on. Of
Yeah.
Needing something, needing a woman. I don't need a woman.
Yeah. And that's the guy they want. The guy doesn't need them.
Yeah, yeah, that is exactly it. They what I've discovered is the women love you when you just show up as yourself, not trying, not doing anything, going out, having fun, and just enjoying your life and saying, hey, I want to be part of that. And that's what I see the women doing.
What's so interesting that I'm noticing right now is that, guy can come through the program and get lots of results quickly, or can get, certain results or see a certain amount of women. But the enjoyment of it too is a whole different thing. So like, you're getting results now. These women are coming after you, and it took until after your program for some things to settle in. Sometimes it goes that way. Honestly, that's how it goes. Sometimes it's really quickly. Typically, it's like mid-program to end, things start rolling. And then on the bell curve it can, other guys are more on the outside. It happens after, or they happen really quickly, right? It kind of spreads out like that, I've noticed. So, but I've worked with guys that have gotten, women chasing them, friends with benefits coming over and all that. But they don't have or haven't worked on the level of self-love and letting go of the needing wantiness to the level that you have. So it's like you enjoy it more, and then there's just more to come for you. I know, but and I'm not judging their path or whatever, because, some guys want more of the coaching that's like, what do I do? What do I say? Behavioral stuff, which I'm still going to direct them and work on the mind stuff. But some guys they haven't lived their life from the deeper sense, and I sort of have to help them take a look deeper if they want it to settle in and be natural, because we have to shift mindset is like, mindset, but it's state of mind. Because, mindset is so like set. like static when it's really a dynamic thing. You know what I mean? Like the vibe is dynamic. It's an ongoing, flowing kind of process of life and interacting with women. And the more that we're in the flow with this stuff, the more it just happens. Like walk in the room, you look up, and the hottest woman there just looks at you and goes, hi, and hits your eyes, and you go, hey.
Yeah.
Right? That's that cool dynamic vibe thing that occurs. And it doesn't always happen like that. Yeah, going and engaging with women, starting the conversations first absolutely needs to happen. But the way we also do things around here is not about hunting, pursuing, even approaching. That word can be a tricky one, depending. So.
Yeah. Well, I kind of like look at myself as like, I'm a little late bloomer, I guess. It didn't take me until after going through the program and just kind of relaxing myself, being more into my body and just relaxing and just kind of letting it happen. And everything that I learned, I'm so introspective of a person that I was trying too hard. So once I let go of that and just stopped trying so hard and just kind of just being myself and just enjoying things, that's when it hit. And that's when things started to take off for me. And it's just being within myself, enjoying life, and going around and being have a smile on my face. And when that hot woman does come up and say hi to me, I'm like, yeah, hi back. Yeah, whatever. This is great. I'm having fun. You want to have fun? Great. And what a cool journey this is.
Yeah.
It's a continuous journey. That's how I look at it. Total continuous journey of life. And it's really cool.
Yeah, that is cool, man. I love the way you said that. With the, it comes back. You come back. The whole self-love piece with you is just so impactful and relaxing. Part of that too is because sometimes there's definitely some information to go through, and there's some pushing that has to happen sometimes. But then that relaxing into your body, because it can't just happen in the head. It's like we have this whole body, and hell, our sexual organs are down in the middle of our body, in the center of our body, more or less. Like if we're not in touch with the fact that we're a man and we have, sexual organs that are meant to reproduce and more, and enjoyable acts, with sex, with love making, whatever you want to call it, straight up fucking, whatever you're into, it's all good.
I like that.
They want to get their brains fucked out. Okay, at some point. Like, I remember years ago, I was hanging out with a group of guys and one girl, a really cute girl, and we were having this conversation at a club or whatever. And I said, sometimes, don't you just want to get fucked? And she went and she followed me around like this the whole freaking night. The whole night was like, and guys, they want that. They may not be able to admit it. And, it's not like they always want that, but it's down there. It's literally down there for both of us, right? It's down there.
Oh, yeah.
It's in our genital area. It's in our groin. Like
it's always there.
Always there, but we can disconnect from it. And you've really reconnected to that, I hear.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And then part of that, it's okay to be a sexual man and have the sexual, I don't want to say wants or needs, but have the sexual capacity that's ready to serve all the women that want me, if I so choose.
Yeah. I like it like that. That reminds me of when I was in my 20s and I was at a bar. I was getting really drunk with this woman next to me, and I just was sitting there going, "Oh, I'm so fucked up. I got to go home." And she's going, and so I get up and I start walking away, and she comes running out and she goes, Michael, why are you going home? Don't you want to go home and fuck me? And that always sticks in my mind here so many years later. That's how women are. That's what they want. And I just have to be the right person to show up to do that, to be there. Yeah.
And to understand that. And I with your Catholic programming, right, and everything goes, you're not talking about sex, right? That probably was shocking for you. right? And then having to reconnect to that as well, because that's how it goes. And sometimes, you know, the really religious girls can be the most wanting of sex, especially with the repression.
Yeah.
Not that she was a religious girl, but side comment there. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, awesome. Anything else here to share, Michael, in terms of progress and results that you know, broke through, struggle with, and or were pleased with, you know, through the process and doing the work and continuing to do it?
I'm actually extremely pleased with the process. Scary as shit, but just because of I had to work myself and within myself, and scared of myself, and to go through this whole thing, and you know, I almost call it a spiritual awakening. Is how I would put it, of just waking myself up and learning. And anybody that wants to go through and wants to learn about themselves and be with these hot women that they really desire to be with, or they want to change their lives, this is like, yeah, second to none. You can't get any coaching like this, one-on-one. The talks that we have helping me work through the things so that I can be the best person I am. And that is like, that's invaluable. That's totally invaluable.
Great to hear, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Great to hear. It's been so helpful and impactful for you. So just like kind of piggyback on that, what was anything that was most, you know, beneficial for you as part of the process or going through that? Maybe you just said it was the coaching and the interaction piece. It's pretty common to hear that. Anything else that might come to mind? It may not be about the process of the program, but something that was beneficial you learned or realized or whatever.
What I really actually realized, which is this kind of deep for me, is I didn't love myself when I came here. I have learned to love myself, and it's a process, and it's an everyday process. And that is probably the number one thing I got out of this whole thing, was connecting with myself again. And because shit, all these hot women, they do want you, and I'm learning that they do want you. You just got to be the right guy, and being the right guy is freedom, you know, and a total freedom. Changing my behaviors, knowing what I was doing in the past was not working, and learning why it wasn't working. It's working, man. It's working.
Fantastic. Any final thing you want to say, or maybe that was it? Any final words of, no pressure, but I sometimes like to say words of wisdom for any guys watching this?
Be like me, who's scared shitless to make that first phone call and make it, and go on a journey, man. I mean, the only thing you're doing is benefiting yourself. So if you want to benefit yourself, make the call, man, and see if it's right. And it might not be right for everybody, but it sure is right for me, and it sure transformed my life into something that I didn't think I would become. And I also met a great friend here, you know, that has taken me on this journey and shown me the light, shown me the right way to go, shown me this is the path you take, you know. And it's a cool path, man. It's a golden path,
man. So so impacted by your words, man. And I have learned and am learning so much from you too. That's part of what does happen. I know I'm the expert and the guide, and it is a role that I play, but also that, especially with someone like you, who has shown so much courage and being scared shitless, but like, I'm all in. That's the epitome of courage, which comes from like a big heartedness, right? Courage literally comes from the Latin word, which means heart. Like, not following the head, where all the fear is, pretty much. I mean, we experience the fear in our body, but it's all the, what if I can't, what if I'm not good enough? And what if I'm weird and this guy's gonna, you know, tell me I'm a piece of shit, and, you know, all that. And following your gut instinct for what was right for you. And just like you said, it's not right for everybody. you got to follow your gut instinct on what's right or wrong. But a lot of times what I notice is even in booking the call, or let alone if we determine it's a fit to, come to the program or not, that, when it's a fit in the gut, but the head's going zzz, right? Got to go with the gut when the gut's a yes, or when the gut's a no, but especially when the gut's a yes, because the fear is what has been stopping all this time in most of our lives.
Fear is a big thing. I had so much fear and of going into this whole thing, and as I went through this whole process, that fear was going away. It would go away more and more and more to where, oh shit, yeah, I get to talk to David, cool, and you would call me on my shit so I could learn how to go forward, and you dug deep and you saw me in this time, and I was like, oh wow, this guy can really see inside me that I didn't think I saw, and it became a deep level.
Yeah. Well, again, and that's a tribute to you to be willing to open up and go there, because not every guy is, or, the process sometimes I have to be more careful depending on who the guy is, because those deeper looks are I've found to be the most transformative and where things can, start to accelerate. And sometimes they're really tough. They're really tough to acknowledge. And here's what I mean by that. I don't mean just the bad stuff. I mean the good stuff. Right? Hard to acknowledge the great things about ourselves, because we live in a society that news and everything focuses on the negative. It gets a lot of mileage and lots of mind control and lots of products sold through that exclusively. So it's hard to even acknowledge the great. And, even when guys have tremendous wins during the program and they totally disregard them, and I have to, whoa, hold on. Look at this. Yeah, but no, that can be actually harder, especially when somebody lives in negativity so much, of acknowledging their greatness, acknowledging they actually did this, that they did this, that I didn't do it for them. I might have helped and guided, but you had to do it.
It's definitely, you have to work it. If you don't work it, man, you're not going to get anything out of it. And acknowledging, and that's one thing you were always really good at. You would acknowledge the wins, the positivity, and say, hey, look how much you've grown. Look what you did from this week to that week. Look at the difference. You did this. Yeah, I asked you to go do this and you went and did this. That's huge growth. And you had to point that out, because we don't see that. We don't understand, or at least I didn't understand my growth. And I thought, oh, this is like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not doing anything. And then when you point out, yeah, you are. Look what you did.
Yeah,
it's so cool.
Yeah, and it has to go that way, because that's part of the limiting old mindset that will just come in and just disregard everything because it wants to stay there. So a big part of the work is continuing to recondition that in multiple ways through the training videos and through the coaching calls and emails and all the ways that we interact, in order to change the course of your ship, whether we need to change it 180 degrees, which you said life went 180, or maybe a guy needs 45 degrees. Maybe a guy needs 10 degrees, and that's it. But I love helping do the range. And I know the degrees thing came up because you said your life had 180'd since you had, jumped in the program and done the work.
Yeah. And, I realized, it's not a program to go learn how to go out and get laid. That's why I was going, oh, if I make this phone call, I'm going to learn how to get laid. And that's not what it was about for me.
Yeah. It's become a byproduct of that, because, and that's, what I found in doing the whole pickup thing is learning, I got laid and stuff, and meeting women that I never met before, cold on the street or cold in the bookstore or whatever, but the amount of work and all that stuff. And I just didn't feel good. It was so much work and I didn't feel good about myself. It didn't address, especially what we talk about, having that magnetic vibe. There's no magnetism there of what we talk about here. So it just happens. You can live your life and enjoy your life and focus on your business and, continue to grow your business or serve well, or, be with your friends and family and not have to do what I did with the weird pickup shit, which is like almost have a separate fucking life.
The pickup thing is like, I think that's where I was before. It's like I was trying too hard, trying to pick this girl up, trying for that. I was like, that shit don't work. It don't work for me. I know that. Yeah.
Awesome, brother. Well, thanks so much for your time. Thanks
Oh,
for doing this. Much love, man. Glad that we're, haven't just been client and coach, but friends too, brothers. And yeah, just so appreciate you, dude.
Yeah, I appreciate you too, David. And this has been really cool. It was good talking to you.
Cool, man. You too. Thanks for all your
Right.
insights and wisdom and sharing, man. All right, guys, we're done. Peace out. See you later.